Welcome to the Viewing Table Results tutorial for the Impact Estimator for Buildings. Tabular results come in three forms: bills of materials, summary measures, and absolute values. A bill of materials is just a listing of all the materials that contribute to our model, and it is the basis for the calculation of the summary measures and absolute values of the project. Summary measures are the life cycle impact assessment results of our project, and our summary measures are based on the US EPA's Tracy Impact Assessment method. Absolute values are the life cycle inventory or LCI flows associated with the project. I have two projects loaded in the project tree on the left here, and we're going to look at the results of these projects. And I want to click on reports up here on the menu bar, and the reports form will show up here. We want to select which project we want to produce reports for, and that's sample building 1 or sample building 2. I'll leave it at sample building 1 for now. And the first thing I'm going to do is show the bill of materials. So for the bill of materials for sample building number 1, I click bill of materials button, and here is our bill of materials. These projects are in metric SI units, but I can switch to imperial here, and the units and the numbers change here in the table. As with all tables and graphs, they can be exported to Excel, PDF, or Word formats. With all tables and graphs, they can be exported to Excel, PDF, or Word. You just click the disk icon at the top here and choose which format you want, and a Save As box will come up. You can name it whatever you want. Saves in the XLS format for Excel. And that's the way to export your results to other programs. That's it for the bill of materials. It's a pretty simple report. I'm going to close this now. And next I'm going to open up the summary measures. So I want to open up a table, so I choose table here, summary measures here. When you choose the summary measures table, all of the summary measures are chosen for you automatically, and I'm going to sort by life cycle stages first, and then I'll do assembly groups next. So that's the report I want. I click show reports, and our summary measure table appears in another form. I'm going to maximize that. So here we have our summary measure table by life cycle stages. So we have our 7 summary measures down here on the left, and our life cycle stages going across the top. So we have the manufacturing, construction, maintenance, and end of life cycle stages, which each include a material effects column and a transportation effects column, and then the total. And then we have our operating energy, annual and total operating energy, and then a total effects of all of the different life cycle stages. And as you can see here, this table is also exportable to Excel, PDF, and Word. I'm going to change the type to assembly group embodied effects. And when this table shows up, I'm going to maximize again. And you see here it's the same summary measures on the left, but now it's sorted by assembly groups: foundations, walls, columns of beams, roofs, floors, and extra base materials, and our total. It should be noted that the assembly group tables do not include the operating energy columns, so the totals of this column will not match the totals of the life cycle stages column, unless you have not input an operating energy into your project. In that case, they will match. The assembly groups only accounts for embodied effects of the structure. The next format of tables, is the absolute value formats, and these are life cycle inventory flows. When you choose absolute value here, I'm going to switch back to life cycle stages first. You choose absolute values, you have the choice of these 5 different charts or tables down here. I'm just going to click all for now and show reports, and I'll have 5 reports show up on my screen. and then I'm going to maximize them. Now all these reports follow the same format. This is the resource use, so these are the natural resources used in our project. Scroll down to there, and they are separated by life cycle stages, as we showed before. There's a total material effects, total transportation effects, and total effects. The next absolute value table is a land emissions table, also known as a solid waste table. Again, here's your solid waste emissions on the left, and the same format on the right. Emissions to water. These are all the life cycle inventory flows that go to water from our project. Note up here that this table is actually 3 pages long. I can click here and go to the next page. I'm on page 2. And then I can go to page 3 as well. When you export a multi-page table, it will be exported as one table into Excel. Next is the air emissions table, and same as the water, except this one happens to be 5 pages long, but it's very similar in we have a whole bunch of life cycle inventory flows for air emissions from our project. And the last table is the energy consumption table, and it shows here the energy attributed to each fuel source essentially, plus a total at the bottom of all of these energies above called total primary energy consumption, and it is divided the same way in life cycle stages. We can do the same thing for absolute values as with summary measures for assembly group effects. I'm just going to show one quickly here. Click Show Reports. And here's the energy consumption table, again divided by assembly groups instead of life cycle effects. One note about tables is that exporting them to Excel is the only way to use the data in another format. If I've got this table here, these numbers are not selectable on the screen and then paste them into Excel. You do have to export them into an Excel spreadsheet in order to use them in your calculations or in reports, etc. As with all forms, the reports form has a help file button at the bottom. If you click on that, the generating reports help file will show up. And this has a brief description of each report that you want to choose. If we want to look at different tables, you can expand this list here, and we have a description of the summary measures table by life cycle stages. And this help file also has a link down here to summary measures, which will give a short explanation of what each summary measure means. So we have fossil fuel consumption, acidification potential, eutrophication potential, global warming potential, human health criteria, ozone depletion, smog, and total primary energy consumption. And that concludes the viewing table results tutorial.